Yeah. Watching a case almost too chilling to mention Hang Lee. Hung Lee? Let me just stop talking. Yeah, because I did not say that right, that's for sure. Let's do it. Hold on, let me
Though
see.
we have recently seen
My
a remarkable
ears!
number of cold cases and missing persons solved,
Okay, let's watch.
some cases are still shrouded in mystery and questions decades after they first began. And sometimes these cases gain notorious reputations for haunting
My
those
fault.
who have tried to solve them. What is up, Iwu crew? We are taking a
What is up, Ewu Crew? How'd you come up with that name?
solve them. What is up, Iwu crew? We are taking a look at a
Ewu.
case that has done just that. Today's case is one of the oldest unsolved missing persons cases in Minnesota. And with each year that passes, it has only become more of a mystery. Let's get into it.
My
On
fault.
January 12th,
Damn.
1993.
Oh, goddamn. Oh, my God. God damn.
A 17-year-old girl named Hang
That's a
Lee.
girl? I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was a guy.
Left her
Oh my God,
family's
that was a guy.
apartment in St. Paul, Minnesota to interview for a new job. It was a
Where's she working at? Hold on, where's she go to work at, though?
and the Midwestern capital had just received
Where was she
its
going to work at,
first
though?
major snowfall of the season.
Where's she going there?
Odin
Where's she?
Valhalla Rising, now available on mobile and PC.
Fuck off. Fuck Otter. Ah!
Night, everything went wrong. Hang Lee was born on October 9th, 1975,
Fuck.
in a refugee camp in the
Refugee
small
camp.
Southeast Asian country of Laos. Her parents were from the Hmong ethnic group. During the United States
Fuck. Oh, there we
involvement
go.
in Southeast
Oh, no,
Asia
don't.
in the 1960s
I
and
bet.
70s, the Hmong people often allied themselves with the Americans to fight against the North Vietnamese and the Pathet Lao.
Vietnamese?
After the defeat of the United States-backed Hmong forces in the so-called Secret War, a civil war in Laos, many of the Hmong people faced severe persecution from the Laotian government.
Hold on,
And they
the
fled
what?
to refugee camps within the country.
Man, at this point you're not even saying words, bruh.
Persecution from the Laotian government.
Laotian government.
And they fled to refugee camps within the country and in neighboring Thailand. Hang Lee's parents were among these refugees. Her family moved to the United States shortly after Hang was born. And like many other Hmong families, they settled in St. Paul, Minnesota. As refugees, Hang's family was quite poor, and her parents did not speak much English.
Also not
They lived in
surprising.
public housing in the North End neighborhood of St. Paul. Despite this, by January 19...
They had no money, but they left over here? Tell me they was living, I'm guessing it's just...
93. Hang was an accomplished student at Highland Park High School.
Jerry, you can't tell me
And
that's
she was
not
looking forward to attending the University of Minnesota the following year. She was a gifted storyteller with hopes to use her talents to write about the Hmong experience in the United States. Her family and co-workers described her as a quiet and sweet, but somewhat naive girl who often fell for practical jokes. Hang worked part-time as a cashier and dishwasher at a Chinese restaurant called Wong Cafe to help provide for her parents and siblings. As she was not making very much money from her job at the restaurant, she began asking her friends about other job opportunities.
Sir?
Her friend, Kia Lee, no
Kia
immediate
Lee.
relation,
Hold on, that might be fun
known
shit,
as
though.
Nikki, was working as a receptionist for a painting and carpentry business located on the east side of St. Paul. And she mentioned to Hang that they were looking for a new employee. Hang jumped at this opportunity, and Nikki offered to introduce her to her employer. Although Hang and Nikki were friends, a later police report revealed that there is some evidence that Hang suspected Nikki may have had ulterior motives. On that January
friend?
night, just before she left for her job interview, Hang turned to her younger brother, 15-year-old Kua, and said,
That's the brother?
"If I don't come back, come and look for me."
If I don't come back, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? If I don't come back, come look for me. Right. What?
Despite this suspicion, Hang left the house anyway. She was last seen wearing a black leather jacket, black pants, and a t-shirt from the heavy metal band Skid Row.
Where the fuck was you going to get to a job interview wearing that?
Her long black hair teased into a typical early 90s style. Hang's instincts would prove to be correct. She didn't return home after the interview, and there was no sign of her over the next few days. It eventually became clear that something had happened to Hang, but her parents had a difficult time reporting her missing because of their limited English.
They didn't know English.
The police initially dismissed her case as a teenage runaway, but upon investigating her bedroom, they quickly found evidence that pointed to something more sinister. Hang had been saving money for college, and she left it all at home on the night of her disappearance. Her boss at Wong Cafe reported that she had not come to the restaurant to work her scheduled shifts, which was unusual for Hang, and that she hadn't even come in to pick up her most recent paycheck.
Oh my god, I thought I was muted for a second.
Hang
Holy
had
shit, I'm
also
bugging.
left her purse at home, which contained a knife and a lead ball that she usually carried for self-defense. If she was actually a runaway, it was unthinkable.
This is making no sense for now. She was... Oh my god, what am I trying to say? Hold on. Give me a sec. She was suspicious, there we go, of this whole job interview, and she didn't even bring nothing to defend herself with?
That she would have left without
oh my god,
her
that took
money
way
and
too long for me to get out.
Hang's
Jesus.
brother Kua told police about his suspicions concerning Hang's friend Nikki Lee.
What's
and the
good?
police
Hey, what up,
began
Vice
asking
Monkey?
Nikki about Hang's whereabouts.
Shit, I'm doing good, man. How are you? What
According
up, dog?
to police records, during their interviews, Nikki gave two vastly different accounts of what had transpired that night. At first, she told detectives that Hang had not actually attended the job interview, and instead left with a group of men she did not recognize. This seemed to confirm the police's original hunch that Hang was another teenage runaway.
Oh.
However, several months later, Nikki changed her story completely.
Oh, this
She
bitch
would
is
go on
lying
to
now,
claim
man.
that
What?
She made up the story about Hang running away.
What'd I
with the
say? This
unknown men.
man.
She admitted that she had done this in part out of wishful thinking, and in part because she claimed that her boss had instructed her to lie, and she reportedly feared
She's lying
retribution
again,
from
isn't she?
him.
She gotta be lying
Nikki
again, bro.
said she hoped that Hang had,
Fuck
in
outta her.
fact, run away from home, and therefore would return someday.
Knock, knock.
Fuck!
Hi there.
I've been watching that BuzzFeed video. Which one's that? Hold on.
That wasn't the case. The business where Nikki worked was owned by a man named Mark Stephen Wallace. Before Hang's disappearance, Wallace asked Nikki if she had any friends who were looking for a job.
Hey,
Suggested Hang.
What the fuck?
Nikki would later say that she thought this was very unusual. The painting
Hey, why is
and
this
carpentry
first thing that
business
popped up on my
had very
screen, bruh?
few customers, and Nikki hardly
Hey,
ever
what you
had
got going
any
on,
work to
Wise
do.
Monkey?
She didn't understand why Wallace would need another employee.
BuzzFeed also network, I'm
There
guessing?
were a few other things about Wallace's business that Nikki reportedly found troubling.
Hey, yo.
Although there were never any customers or clients, she
BuzzFeed
reported to
Unsolved
police
Network?
that
Yeah,
young
I see it
teenage
now.
boys would occasionally visit the office. She told investigators that Wallace would take these young boys into his office.
Yeah, oh, hell no. Hold on. Did he just say he took young boys into his office? Hold on, go back a little bit. Oh, what the Oh, hell
The
no.
carpentry business had
So I'm not like
barely
that, I'm
wasn't
not
the
like that.
case.
Looks like a
business where
nice
Nikki
guy.
worked
Hell
was
no.
owned by a man named Mark Stephen Wallace. Before Hang's disappearance, Wallace asked Nikki if she had any friends who were looking for a job, and she immediately suggested Hang. Nikki would later say that she thought this was very unusual. The painting and carpentry business had very few customers, and Nikki hardly ever had any work to do. She didn't understand why Wallace would need
After
another
this video, I'm gonna hop on
employee.
that game I got, the Scissors game.
There were a few other
That horror
things
game.
about
I don't remember what
Wallace's
it's called
business
though.
that Nikki reportedly
What's going on
found
with this
troubling.
chin hairs?
Although there were never any customers or clients, she reported to police that young teenage boys would occasionally visit the office. She told investigators that
Young teenage boys would occasionally enter his. Oh, man, what? Man, get this shit off, man. What the fuck are you doing?
Wallace would take these young boys into his office and lock the door behind them. Although she did
What?
not elaborate further.
Sorry, he locked the door behind them after he took teenage boys into his office. You know,
On this point, Nikki also reported that Wallace had frequently talked to her about modeling. According to Nikki, he said that he had
man, what the fuck? What is this old fuck right here know about modeling? What are we talking about? This dude is chatting his ass
a
off.
friend who could find modeling work for her, and Wallace took some photographs of
Man,
her to
you
show
know
to this
damn well you
friend.
gotta know.
Nothing ever came of this,
Of
and
course
Nikki
it
never
didn't.
found out what happened to the photographs. Nevertheless, despite these apparent
Yo, let's just play the video, bro. Just play, bro. Play the fuck, play. Oh, I muted it.
needed a better paying job and offered to introduce her to Wallace. After Nikki changed her story, she told police officers that on the night of Hang's disappearance, Wallace had taken her and Hang to his office. Nikki's new
Bro.
story to
Yo, why is his eyes always looking like this? Man, this dude gotta be out something 24/7. God damn.
police was that after Hang's job interview, Wallace offered to give the two young women a ride home
Oh,
in his
hell
truck.
no.
They all got into his white pickup truck and
And they were
drove
never
off.
seen again.
He said that he would drop Nikki off at her house and then take Hang back to her home. At some point, for reasons that were never made clear, Wallace reportedly instructed Nikki and Hang to get out of the truck and into a Chevy Cavalier. He drove
Shit, I
with
don't know how you
Nikki
gotta
in the
run to that
passenger
point.
seat, while
You
Hang
gotta run
sat
as soon
in
as
the
you this
back.
route. What?
Wallace then dropped Nikki off at her house in the Frogtown neighborhood of St. Paul. When Nikki exited the car, Hang climbed into the front seat. That was the last time Nikki saw Hang.
Fuck.
Nikki later hired
you
a
just say?
lawyer and refused to
What's
continue
this?
speaking with the police or the media. And Wallace would soon be named by
Shame.
police as a key person of interest in Hang's disappearance.
I used to spend over
Fuck.
$1,000 a month just trying to
Yo.
eat clean.
Oh my god, it's gonna sound like ass now. I had that shit playing in the fuck. Oh! I didn't know it was fucking
A few
playing.
months
Fuck,
later,
it was
as
unmuted.
police in St. Paul continued investigating the case, their records reveal that they realized that Mark Stephen Wallace had been
I'm
convicted
gonna be
of
honest with
2
you.
sexual assaults.
No, I had work today, like the whole day. So tomorrow I might be able to. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I'm going to the movies tomorrow. I'm watching the new Karate Kid movie. If not tomorrow, then probably Friday before I go to work. I should get it fixed soon though. Like, I don't know why it's that echo on stream. Like, it doesn't echo for me. I fixed that part, but once I fixed the echo for me, it started echoing on the fucking stream. Bro, that should be pissing me off, bro. That shit cost me $130 something. It should not be this fucking hard for me to. Oh!
In the neighboring Washington County. He had
Yo, that
served
shit-
time
yo,
in prison
shit
for
cost me
both of the
$130.
assaults that he committed in
I shouldn't be taking this
1987.
long for me to fucking fix.
One of the assaults was of a 16-year-old girl. Police records reveal Wallace allegedly told the girl, 16-year-old girl, one of the assaults was of a 16-7. One of the assaults was of a
16?
Girl. Police records
Oh
reveal
no, they gotta get rid
Wallace
of Vin.
allegedly told the girl that he had a job offer for her. Reportedly,
Yeah, how many times has he used it? Oh my god, that's like the 5th time I've heard that he's used that before.
Wallace had picked the girl up and taken her to where he said the interview was to occur. But when they arrived, police say that he bound and assaulted the girl. Records reveal that he held a knife to her and allegedly threatened that he would kill her and her family if she told anyone. Wallace was arrested by an undercover police officer.
Yeah, how many fucking mugshots does this dude have? It's like the 4th one we've seen.
Who he also reportedly approached with a similar proposition. In 1988,
God
he was convicted.
Damn! 1988? How old are you? Hold on, this is how you looked in 1988?
And sentenced to prison for 2 counts of first-degree
Assault.
assault. And he
No.
served a
Trust me, it's not that, buddy. It's delayed over here too. I have it pulled up on my other monitor. Ever since I started streaming on TikTok, it's been delayed crazy. It wasn't that bad. It was only like 1 or 2 seconds. Now it's like probably 5.
little under 3
Oh my
years.
god, probably even more than that. It just showed. God damn,
He was let out on a supervised release, and his sentence
I
expired
gotta end this TikTok shit soon, because I don't think I can show myself playing that game.
a week
I'm
before
trying to get banned
Hain
now,
went
so
missing.
yeah.
When the police finally had the chance to talk to Wallace about Hain's disappearance, he admitted that he did indeed interview her on that night. After the interview, he said that he dropped Nikki off at her house in Frogtown, and then dropped Hain off at the intersection of Rice Street and Wheelock Parkway, near the restaurant where she worked. This seemed to corroborate Nikki's story, although it did not bring the police much closer to figuring out Hain's whereabouts. Wallace then hired a lawyer and stopped cooperating with the police.
Of course he did.
Although
I've been really
police never
surprised.
closed the case, Hain Lee's disappearance fell into obscurity until a potential lead emerged
I've been really
16
surprised that he
years later. Though there was still no
Hold
sign
on,
of
let's
Hain,
move.
in 2009
Hold on,
there was
I'm
a
distracted
potential
right now.
break in the case. Mark Wallace's house, located in the suburb of Maplewood, had gone into foreclosure. With Wallace no longer in
Fuck, what
possession
did I
of
just
the
click on?
home, the police had the
I can't remember if that
opportunity
game has
to
stuff besides some blood and gore in it. Yeah, I'll probably just not risk it. But yeah.
conduct a search.
God damn
Ronan
it.
Val-
I might need to buy that
The
fucking
police
YouTube
received
shit so I don't get no
permission
more
from the
ads,
bank
bruh.
to search the property using a team of cadaver dogs. Reportedly, the dogs showed a lot of interest in the garage and led investigators to the back of the structure. It was there that all 3 dogs appeared to police to indicate that there could be human remains beneath the concrete floor.
Damn, but hold
This
on,
was
beneath
sufficient
the
evidence
concrete?
to get a warrant, and officers then drilled holes into the floor of the garage to help the cadaver dogs more accurately locate any human remains that might have been buried underneath. After drilling through the floor, the cadaver dogs were brought back in, but this time, only one of the dogs.
Oh my god, this shit is delayed as fuck for me, bro. Fuck YouTube for blocking that. Yo, this shit is so delayed. It just showed the ad that I got like 3 seconds ago right now.
Smelled human remains. This was not enough evidence to justify excavating the garage, and the police then stopped
Maybe
their
that's just for me,
investigation
'cause god
of
damn.
Mark Wallace's house. Another break in the case came in 2016, 23 years
2016.
after Hain Lee's disappearance.
23? God damn! LeBron! on!
And 7 years after the police investigated Mark Wallace's property. In August 2016, Wallace fled a traffic stop near his new home in Andover, which is about 20 miles
Man, this dude is a dumbass, but you know you a criminal. And you're out here doing dumb shit like that.
north of St. Paul. Police then discovered Wallace's car parked at the Key Inn Motel in Woodbury. When police arrived at the motel, they kicked down the door of the room he was staying in, where they found Wallace with a frightened 20-year-old woman.
Oh
Wallace was arrested when he tried to flee the room. The woman, who has never been identified, told police that Wallace was the father of one of her friends from high school. She said that she did not have a permanent home and that Wallace had agreed to let her stay with him. And in exchange, she did his housework. For a time,
my God.
it seemed like...
I'm not gonna lie, I thought I was about to go somewhere else. Oh my God, I thought I was going somewhere else. Whoa, I was about to say.
This arrangement was going to work, but the situation reportedly soured. According to a police complaint that the woman filed, Wallace allegedly physically and verbally attacked her. She eventually filed a no-contact order against him. Wallace was never accused of sexually assaulting the woman, but when police found her in the motel room, they found evidence that she had been beaten, bruised, and malnourished. Wallace was charged with felony kidnapping to commit great bodily harm, felony stalking, and misdemeanor drug possession. The stalking and drug charges were later dropped, and Wallace was convicted and sentenced to 54 months in prison for the kidnapping.
54, I'm not gonna lie, I was about to say 54 years. I was about to say, God damn, but no, he got 54 months.
Hang Lee's disappearance had largely been forgotten by the media prior to the 2016 kidnapping. But the trial and conviction renewed interest in her case because of allegations that the kidnapping survivor revealed to the police.
It really do
She
be
told the
people really
police
sometimes.
that she had known about Hang Lee's disappearance and that she knew Wallace had been a person of interest in that case. She reportedly claimed that she had asked Wallace about Hang Lee. Police documents state that the woman alleged that Wallace told her Hang
4 years, 5
his
years
business, quote,
Hold on.
and never came out. The complaint also stated that the woman claimed that Wallace warned her that he would do to her what he did to Hang, and that he allegedly told her that he knew
years,
how to get rid of
quick
blood
math.
and cut through bone. Authorities from Washington County, where Wallace was tried and convicted, passed this information along to the St. Paul Police Department. St. Paul Police did not comment on the woman's statements or Wallace's conviction, but Hang Lee's case is still open.
Damn.
In August 2019, after his prison sentence was complete, a court in Anoka County, where Mark Wallace lived, had him committed to a treatment program. The court's decision cited both his 2016 conviction for kidnapping and his 1988 convictions for
really get out of jail for kidnapping. He got out of jail for kidnapping in
who described him as a dangerous person and a psychopathic personality. In September 2020, Mark Wallace appealed his commitment, but the court upheld their decision on the basis of his previous convictions. He is currently held as a patient at the treatment center. Mark Stephen Wallace is still considered a person of interest in Hang Lee's disappearance, but he has never been officially named as a suspect.
Yo, my shit's bugging, isn't it?
Hang Lee's Hmong heritage was very important to her. A traditional part of Hmong shamanism is the Cha Bli, or spirit release ceremony, in which the soul of a deceased family member is invited to visit with their family for one last time. After the ceremony, the loved one's spirit is released for reincarnation. Traditionally, this is done
my shit's bugging right now, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
But in missing persons cases,
has never been this
it
bad.
often isn't held for many years after their disappearance, when the family no longer believes that their loved one will return in their physical form. Hang Lee's father had refused to hold a Chablis in the hopes that police would someday find his daughter's remains. Before he died in 2013, he told his family that they should probably go ahead and hold the ceremony for Hang. In 2017, her family held a Chablis in the hopes of releasing Hang's spirit so that she could be reincarnated.
Nice.
Hang Lee's mother, Chong Bang,
yo, it is for me too.
says that she has
fix
forgiven
it. Hold on.
whoever might have been involved in her daughter's disappearance. But she would like to know where her body is so that Hang can have a proper funeral. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact the St. Paul Police Department.
I mean, this video. YouTube wasn't locked in. Fuck otter.